1 hour, 17 seconds. Did you listen to my short new podcast thing that I started last
There was
week?
one that you released. I
Quick
heard
current.
that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. There's
Did
another
you
one
release
coming
another
this
one
week.
after?
It's gonna come Friday. Yeah, it's gonna come
Now,
Friday.
fuck, I should have mentioned at the beginning
What?
of the last show is that it's on Discord,
Mhm.
and if you should be, everybody here should be joining it to our Discord because there's lots of.
I'm gonna put it on Discord first, and I will even take suggestions for topics on Discord, but I will not take them anywhere else.
And I created a specific.
I saw that. You're the channel maestro on that thing. That's great.
Somebody suggested it. It's not my I have nothing to do with this. Somebody came up with the idea, and I'm just gonna I'll do it. So whoever came up with it, thank you. I forget.
I love it. Mark is in the chat saying the sponsor read was not too long. Like how long should it be? Is there a limit? We don't have a contract together, so I don't know how long it's supposed to be. 20 seconds,
Mark,
40
I want
seconds,
to do an hour-long discussion of easy DNS. In fact, okay, let's talk about the beauty of easy DNS.
But should I? You know what I thought about? I never do. We haven't done a pre-recorded sponsor read in forever. Probably since we started doing this show. We had, I think, a ShakePay one pre-recorded, and was the Ledham one pre-recorded? I forget.
I don't know.
I forget, but I haven't done a pre-recorded read in a long time. It must have taken me 10 takes to get that right, the two of them right. Even
but the beautiful thing is
Bitcoin
once you
one.
do it once, you just
but the thing, but now Mark says he doesn't like it, so now I got to do it again.
We'll do the pre-recorded ones. That's it. Mark, we'll send it over to you. You could vet it. We'll send you
no, we will not. No, we will not.
Like
you can only hear it on the episode. We will not be sending it in advance.
On principle, Joey, I'm gonna pre-record my next interview. I'm gonna fucking record one on fucking principle, and it's gonna be Mark. I'm gonna send it over to you. You can review it, and you can give me a thumbs up or down.
What do you want to talk about here? Are we talking about Mark or Pierre or
the tariffs?
Yes.
Obviously, that's the biggest thing, right? It's impacting the markets and all that. Like the best thing I saw this past week, there's a lot of negativity with the tariffs, but there was one positive thing, and it's fucking meme-worthy stuff. Did you see that? When Trump came up and he brought that billboard with him, I love that. Like,
that's the best meme template of the year for sure.
Fucking great. Like, it reminded me of like the late '90s. Chris Jericho came up with this Dean Malenko picture all the time. And he was talking about Malenko was working at Harry's Burger, Tampa, Florida. That's what it reminded me. He's ringing out this fucking, and I love that. I love the fact he brought out that big fucking billboard and shows how much every country's gonna get tariffs.
It's great.
I love that. But what a fucking joke.
Yeah, I love that.
So now we have that tariffs are in place, and now obviously there's some
discussion about the equations used to land on those numbers, but we're landing on them anyway. That's what we got. So
how did he come up with this?
I think he did the trade
arbitrary, right?
He did the trade deficit divided by something. I'm pretty sure.
But why do you divide it? Like, what's the rationale? Like, it's all right. Like, he must have been shitting on the golden toilet, and fuck, I'm gonna do this. No, I'm gonna move that decimal point around, and like, it's right. Like, how do you come up with this fucking bullshit? It must have been like dropping.
I did love the billboard. Trump is a master at a couple things. One of them is like spectacle. And you could say whatever you want about the guy as a president or as a man. Like, is he a serial philanderer? Is he a moron? Like, I don't know, but he is. And Len, you mentioned that it reminded you of wrestling. Where has that guy also put on a spectacle? Not just in politics, but in a wrestling ring a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
He's no stranger to all this. So
like, he's a showman. He say what you want. Like, he's a showman. But this fucking tariff, he's bringing a lot of countries at the table.
Bring them to their knees is what he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to comment on this because this is going to come up at my Easter dinner next week for sure. I'm going to be dining with both my family and my wife's family over the course of 2 days.
Next week?
It's the 20th. Yeah. So it's a short week, 2 weeks in a row. Holla.
No, it's 2 weeks. It's like 2.
Yeah. It's the 20th. Yeah. So not this coming weekend, but the following weekend.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna hear a lot of comments from, especially the older crowd, about how tariffs they're only hurting the American economy. Blah blah blah. Just 3 things to keep in mind, okay? And you could have read this morning if you subscribe to the CBP newsletter. If tariffs only hurt the citizens of the countries in which they are being levied, or in the country by which they are being levied, then why are we also levying tariffs, both in response to these and before them? Okay, number one. Number two, if it's Americans who are paying the tariffs on all these things, why do we care? Why are we trying to get them off of the table? And number three, if tariffs don't work as a negotiating tactic, why does every country on earth use them? Like this isn't a uniquely American story, nor is it some precedent-setting thing, nor is it some end-of-the-world scenario. It is a guy who knows he's got all the cards. He knows the other countries who are playing hardball have nothing in their deck. And like you said, Lutnick also mentioning today, something to the tune of 70 countries have come to the table to negotiate these tariffs since they landed a few days ago. So, you know, you can say what you want about Trump and he's doing all these things, blah, blah, blah. It's not fair. He's dismantling, you know, norms and markets. And you know what? That's life. Things change. And this guy has a vision and doesn't care about a next term. So, yeah, he's going to do things the way he's been talking about wanting to do them for literally 40 years. Okay, you can go back and watch that Oprah interview. It's all over the place talking about tariffs. Larry King talking about tariffs, you know, RIP, the great Larry King. This is easy to understand from his point of view. We are tired of playing the fool and we're not going to do it anymore. You guys are going to have to either contribute to the cause or we're bringing everything back here. It'll be painful for sure. But, you know, Besant dropping it all time, like talk about wrestling quality lines. It's not a mega problem. It's a Mag 7 problem. And if that's an issue for you, then you got to find a way to deal with it. You know, that market's overvalued anyway. We've talked about that earlier. We've talked about it any time. I think this is the beginning of something different. And by the way, in this country, you're starting to see now, even on networks like CBC and CTV, people who care more about their reputation professionally, academically, blah, 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 saying on the air, we can do elbows up, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to cave because we just can't deal with this for longer than they can. That's it. Like the pain tolerance from every other country is lower than the United States. That's really all it boils down to, I think. And yeah, no one's saying no one is cheering this on. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be shit. You know, we talked about this on the air a few weeks ago. A trade war is not you going to the store and buying French's ketchup instead of Heinz or whatever, right? A trade war is you paying double and triple for something that you don't actually realize the true cost of, thanks to tariffs and thanks to the U.S. being, you know, arguably just hilariously mismanaged for a long, long time, including Trump's first term, by the way. So, you know, this is the life you're living now, and we'll see how long it lasts. And you may also be aware, listener, viewer, that I think we were exempted from quite a few of these tariffs compared to what the original proposal was from the United States. And our current prime minister, Mr. Carney, chose to levy taxes against America anyway, I think on autos and maybe something else, I forget. But like, this is not the time to be aggressive and try and find out what you're made of. This is the time to be introspective and take this little win and find a way to spin it politically and do what's right for the country in terms of becoming more self-sufficient down the road. But for now, I think, I mean, Len, I don't know how you see it, but I don't think there's another way to look at any of this stuff besides the one I've kind of just, you know, roughly outlined.
There's going to be, in 3 years and change, an election in the United States. I'm not talking about the midterms. I'm talking about for the president of the United States. They'll have to elect a new president because Trump can't run for a third term. So because of that, if two different things happening. Number one, I'm sure whoever's going to be trying to negotiate with the United States for the next little while are going to do so with the intention of renegotiating after there's a new president sworn in.
Maybe.
So because I don't think that in their eyes or their mind, they don't think this is going to be something that's there forever.
It's a long time. It's a long time to wait, you know?
That's number one. Number two, if prices still are high and people are still impacted by higher prices because of tariffs and the reshuffling of manufacturing and all that shit that goes along with this, come the election, who's going to suffer at the polls the most? I suspect it's going to be low hanging fruit for somebody to come in to say, I'm going to lower your prices and this is how I'm going to do it, and present a plan. And it may not be the best plan long term, but people don't look for long term. Only China has the 100-year plan that they're enacting, and they're trying to at least I thought they enacted. Now it looks like they're going back to the burb.
Yeah, I mean, there's always these thoughts from different political pundits and strategists. Like, here's how you win an election. If the economy's in the tank, you blame the sitting president, you blame the administration, blah, blah, blah. And they will try and do that for sure. Do you think that the American people, though, will suffer enough pain as a result of the tariffs? Like the US is 34% of the global trade economy. Did you know that? So they make up a third, and everyone else is fighting.
Everybody's fighting for that
thirds. You know,
like that purchasing that.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the economy. You must succeed in the American economy, or you will fail. And so
that's for a product to succeed. Yeah. But I'm looking more politically though. Right? Like,
what I'm saying is, I'm not sure the Americans are going to suffer enough for it to matter.
You don't know, because are they heading towards a recession, or are they already?
Okay, let me ask you this before you say that, just to frame it. The poorest states already vote Republican. So like they're not affected by the state of their data.
It's that middle 15-20% that you're dealing with. That's what's going to dictate elections.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
So if you have now prices go up, and they're going to like, what the fuck is this? And you have a recession coming in, and if it's going to go to recession, and you have the stock market down, the stuff that, remember, Trump, he's all about business. He's recession proof. He's never put the country in recession. No wars, no all that. And it's like, holy shit! Like, you could just politically, you could say, look, people are paying higher. The economy's in the tank. It's in a recession. The stock market's down. There's fucking a war going on. You guys are bombing somebody. Like, it's just check. And you could use this as, it's something you could talk about in a debate or even in attack ads, and it could resonate amongst that middle 15 to 20% to move the needle from having a Republican win to having a Democrat win, or even having a Republican win that is not on board with the existing policies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's enough that because it's more like people want to get elected. The hell what's going to happen in the future? It's like, I want to get elected, and that's that. What happens in 4 years to go fucking deal with it?
Okay, so the other piece of this obviously is the actual like political personality piece. Who is the left going to put on a ballot that will beat presumably like JD Vance and Marco Rubio, let's say? Yeah, like who's I don't know either.
But I'm the wrong guy to ask this question, because I don't follow it enough.
Okay.
So the fact that I don't know doesn't mean they don't have anybody.
And like here in Canada, it's in the thumbnail. I'll just note that like our jobs numbers came out, they were abysmal. We're almost at 7% unemployment, another 33,000 jobs lost. If you take away public sector, it's probably even worse than that. Honestly, I have no idea. But
no, it's more than that, Joey. Did you see that it was 62,000 full-time jobs?
There you go.
Lost.
Yeah.
In the month, just the month of March alone.
There you go, man.
But it was partially offset by gains in part-time employment. So you had full-time loss, but part-time, there were some gains. And it's not something you can look at and say this is something of positive. Part-time jobs don't carry an economy. Part-time jobs, everybody knows what the fuck they are. I don't have to define it. So this is a telling, and this only happened in the month of March. Tariffs, the full impact of tariffs. We're now in April. We're looking at what's happening with the stock market. You're having Stellantis close plants in Windsor. Oshawa is probably going to have, you're going to have all these fucking plants shutter, at least temporarily. The number of 33K is going to be way higher in April, potentially way higher in May. It's going to be really challenging.
It's so sad, because this was, again, like very much avoidable. And we pretend too that the tariffs thing is not just a like whack-a-mole game that we're playing and trying to just rip each other off. Like I saw on Face the Nation, Face the Nation, just such a low IQ program. The anchor grilling Howard Lutnick on, why did you put this island that's only inhabited by penguins on the list of tariff nations? Like, she has no idea how stuff like manufacturing plus assembly works in a tariff environment. I'll give you an example.
Who fucking cares if an island that's only inhabited by penguins gets tariffed or not?
Well,
It
the thing
impacts
is,
fucking
the
nothing.
thing is, they try and paint him as like a moron. She's like, "Did you use AI to come up with that list?" And he's like, "No." And the reason we did it is because tariffs are a game of arbitrage. For example, there's all this talk about Canadian manufactured automobiles. We don't make anything here. Okay. We got guys making 120 grand a year, putting bolts in doors that are shipped here from China, Mexico, you name it. And then we sell them into the United States, quote unquote, tax free, and claim they're Canadian manufactured. Like, it's all just a ruse. The whole global economy is just one curtain being pulled back after another, and you're trying to find what's actually going on. And the Wizard of Oz just keeps sliding the doors, right? Like, this whole thing is just completely made up. And the Americans know that better than anyone because they have the biggest consumer economy. And we can pretend all we want that there's like going to be great jobs coming. Polyev and Carney both. We're going to bring back jobs. There is no job here for a true car manufacturer. There's no opportunity here for an auto manufacturer to truly build an automobile in Canada. It's too expensive. We don't have the labor, the cheap labor. We don't have the infrastructure to do it. It's not cost effective. It will never work. So what do we do instead? We put the screws in the doors, slap a made in Canada stamp on there, and send it to the States. Toyota, Ford, all those plants, they all do it here. And it's not like new, but I think a lot of people now are seeing for the first time that maybe the thing they thought was happening in terms of manufacturing, tariffs, trade is actually not the case. And it's jarring for people to realize for the first time that this whole, global free trade economy is basically anything but. And
people are addicted to cheap
how many
goods,
cheap
value
Temu
goods.
widgets do you need, right? Like, this is the question. How much
I don't
pain
wanna,
can you take?
Yeah, I'm not talking about I was the wrong phrase. I mean, I'll say value because the iPhone, for example, that is being assembled for the most part in outside of the United States, right? And it's done in such a way because it's going to make the end product cheaper.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, is it going to really be the end of the world if it was done locally in the United States?
Mm-hmm.
The price would be 2-3 times the price of the actual phone, but are we then going to value stuff more? Are we going to spend money? Are we going to think about, because you're getting to a point, if that's the case, if everything gets really expensive, you're getting to a point where people are thinking their money is hard because they're going to think about where they're going to spend it. They're going to actually buy stuff they more often need than not. And it's not to say people are spending money like crazy these days. There's a lot of people that are suffering that can't even meet the basic demands. But just in general, I'm talking about that. Then people are just going to think about, okay, I got to get this, I got to get that. And you're going to get it and you're going to cherish it, right? Like, you get something, you're going to make sure that it doesn't break. And it's going to change people's mentality for purchasing and ownership of goods. Totally. Is that for the best? I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's going to be a reaction to that.
Should we do some, I mean, not that I'm tired of talking about tariffs, but do you want to do some Clown World? Did we have any good Clown World for this week?
We don't do Clown World.
Do we have any
notable
North stories?
Yeah. Well, I want to just talk briefly about a bunch of candidates that are dropping out or have dropped out in the general election. And it's surprisingly large. It's growing by the day. So we got this guy, Paul Chiang. He's been removed by the Liberal Party, or
he resigned. It was clean resignation.
So yeah, he's had enough. And because he
found out his double XP weekend, season 3 started in COD, and he's got KD to grind, so he'll be doing that for a while.
So for people who are not aware, this is the gentleman that was suggesting to the media that his political opponent should be turned over to the Chinese authorities for a bounty. And so obviously this caused an uproar, and yeah, he's now gone. So then we got another guy, Simon Payette, and he was dropped by the Conservatives after accusing Polytechnic survivors of exploiting the shooting. Then we had this.
Is that a winning platform idea? Can we get some internal polling on that before we say it out loud?
He got dropped by so there's more and more. I'm going to keep going. Mark McKenzie, another guy dropped by the Conservatives. He was on the Mark and Chris podcast, and he was joking that former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau should receive capital punishment.
Interesting. That's a harsh take.
And so
How many listeners do you think that podcast had before he ran for public office?
I don't know.
My guess is like 0. It was like probably 150 plays, and someone dug it up and got him with it, is my guess. Yeah, that's fair game, man. Politics is dirty. You know, if you wanna make public appearances, then you have to stand by what you say.
This guy, Stefan Marquis, was dropped by the Conservatives. This all happened in the past week, by the way. This is not like all in the past week. Stefan Marquis was dropped by the Conservatives following several posts that he put out there reporting as conspiracy theories on subjects such as COVID-19, vaccines, the World Economic Forum, and the invasion of Ukraine. So he's gone for the Conservatives.
What were the conspiracies? Can we get into them? Any good ones?
I don't want to.
Is it that the vaccine was safe and effective? That was a conspiracy. Let me tell you that. Anyway,
Rod Layola was now no longer running for the Liberals because somebody dug up some videos from him back in 2009 in which he appeared to be praising Hezbollah and Hamas in an anti-NATO protest. Both are listed as terrorist groups in Canada. And finally, we have Thomas Keeper, also dropped by the Liberals because he failed to disclose a 20-year-old domestic assault charge that was stayed 6 weeks after it was laid. This is back in 2015, July. So there we go. We had a bunch of candidates that are just gone. And this is a state of what's going on. I think moving forward, it's going to be more difficult to find candidates that don't have any skeletons in their closet because of people, when you post something on the internet, it's there forever, right? Like it's archived. And
you got to make your candidates in a lab now. But, they can't have any history at all. Even your old MSN name may be grounds for removal from a race for political office. I don't know.
So my discostew22 at hotmail.com is gonna.
I could probably think back to like having some questionable song lyrics in my MSN name, or like, I don't know. I was only like 15. I think the last time I guess I was a lot older. I think I had MSN University, so I was probably 20-ish when I switched to BBM, like all the cool kids. But yeah, interesting, right? This is something we could have probably. We could have got out in front of this a lot earlier if we had just let Rachel Gilmore do the investigative journalism that she wanted to do. She could have found these stories way before now, right?
She got ousted from Global,
She's back.
Right?
She's back, though, with... what's the guy's name? Max Fawcett? I think I saw Mark call him Mark's Fawcett. I don't know what that guy's deal is.
Max Fawcett, right?
Whatever. He's on my list.
What the fuck?
He's on my feed all the time. I don't know anything about that guy, but whatever.
Let's talk about Jagmeet Singh.
Sure.
And so he had a beauty of a week. There was a video floating around this past week with him and an NDP supporter. And the supporter is an OnlyFans model who did some commentary with Jagmeet, and she made some comments about the Holocaust. This comment rubbed people the wrong way, and it's hard to figure out given her experience that she would rub anything the wrong way, right? But either way, they tried to distance themselves from her altogether. Then Jagmeet was pictured with two masked guys. It looked like two masked wrestlers. I don't know what the fucking, this guy's the best, eh? Like he's out there not using his plane very much, still on the bus, and polling in the single digits. Right? It's looking like they're not going to get official party status. He may not win his seat in Burnaby. And if you think about in the past couple of years, all the opportunities that the NDP had to topple the government when they were polling in a 20-ish%, they could have had an opportunity to have been official opposition. Long shot, but at least it was a possibility. Now it looks like they're not even going to get official party status. And I think that at the time, Jagmeet Singh was probably thinking he's going to wait it out when the NDP spiked in popularity and to the point where they could become official opposition just like they did in 2011. But it's not going to pan out for him. Doesn't really matter.
I love it. Paulie in the chat saying exactly what I'm thinking. Like your base is not only people who are just gooning at home to OnlyFans, it's the people who can only afford to goon to the most subpar OnlyFans models out there. Let's have a look together at the state of Canadian politics here on our Canadian politics on Reddit, okay? Jagmeet Singh, NDP leader, campaign with sex worker OnlyFans model. Make of that what you will. I don't know what's going on in this photo, but let me tell you, okay? This is not something anyone should be paying for, ever, no matter what, but certainly not in this case. Look at the comments. And they're people too, lol. It's supposed to be controversial. Sex workers are deserving of equal dignity. Not to mention a lot of them make small, medium-sized enterprise scale money. I promise you she does not. Having sex workers join their campaign just made Jagmeet Singh a little cooler. I'm not, however, agreeing with any message or posting by anyone, including sex workers, was the point that was cool. Not any message from them. And not taking sides on the message either. This is the most fence-sitting comment I think I've ever seen. And then obviously the best comments, as always on Reddit, buried at the bottom. Hookers and blow party, and going for that oil worker vote. That's a bit of a low blow. And then this one down here, which I will not read on the air. But this is the state of affairs in Canadian politics. Like the guy who's in third place with zero chance.
No, he's not third.
Fourth after the block.
Yeah.
So the guy in fourth with zero chance of even going into third is resorting to grabbing like bottom of the barrel OnlyFans models. And then when the story comes out that he's with an OnlyFans model, he cuts her loose because of why, Len?
The backlash.
Over Israel Hamas comments.
No, it was the backlash.
Well, I mean, their official story is Israel Hamas comments, but you know why they cut her loose. You know, like it's just such a poorly run political party. How
you know
can
that they
anybody vote for these guys?
You know they have the plane,
do they?
Right? I wasn't aware.
The ND plane, yeah, do they?
They do. The ND plane. They actually do. I thought they didn't have enough money to have a plane, but apparently they do have a plane. They didn't wrap the plane in NDP decal, so the Liberal Party did it for theirs, the Conservatives did it for theirs. But they didn't start using the plane until 7 days into the campaign, and even then they're using it sparingly. So the bus is their main way of getting from A to B, and that's a reflection of how much money they have in their bank account. They claim they're going to spend up to the maximum. I think the maximum is $30 million, which each party could spend. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do that without heavily going into debt. And yeah, good luck for them. Maybe they could do something. Buy Fartcoin or something and see if they could run it up.
On that ETF.
Yeah.
I'm looking for pictures of this ND plane, but I don't see it.
There's no picture. It's just a regular plane that doesn't have any decals in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I mean, this is like
it doesn't differ from any other plane.
Do you think that that this OnlyFans model is going to comment further on this story?
She's definitely going to go on some podcast later on.
Yeah.
And say something. Is it going to happen during the election or after? I don't know. But you're going to hear her. I think so. I think somebody's going to try to get her.
Let's try and get her. I'll try and get her. You want me to reach out? What's worse going to happen? I don't know. Yeah, in the chat. CBP? Listen, I don't know. Whatever. Let's do one more story.
Well, we could talk about Toronto purchasing these 2 ferries. And this is at a cost of $92 million. These are ferries that are shuttling people to and from the Toronto Island, serving the Toronto Island, right? So initially, the purchase of this was supposed to be $25 million, but the design costs and all that and everything going up went from 25 to 92 million. So whatever.
Whatever.
25
to 92.
Whatever, right? What do I fucking do? But it gets better, right? So they were initially going to be diesel ferries. Right,
okay.
They were diesel powered.
Well, do they know that's polluting, or
that's why they opted for electric? So that's part of the reason why the cost went up. But one problem though with all this, they didn't take into consideration the cost needed to put in the charging stations for the new ferries, the upgrading of the docks, and all that. So the modifications and charging and all this shit has yet to have been considered. At least it was considered only recently in the 2024 budget, and so it's millions and millions of dollars extra that needs to be spent to ensure that these electric ferries are powered and ready to go to serve customers. If this doesn't just tie a bow on what's going on in Toronto, I don't know what does. It's a great story. I love it. And
there's no end to the stupidity over there. No end. It never stops. We could do a whole hour on Toronto at least once a month, and it would just be over and over again.
I'll give you one beauty, another. So Toronto police, they've been out there this past year because there's been a lot of protests between communities. You got the Jewish and Muslim communities out there. They're each protesting what's going on in the war in Israel and with Hamas. So the Toronto police apparently has spent policing this. $20 million was the charge for this. And That's money that could have been spent on so many other things that could have been better.
Could have given city
Housing
council
for-
another raise, maybe.
That's another 25% raise. And that's just, and you see stuff like that. You see all these protests going on. You see intersections being taken over. I'm happy I'm making the plans, because I was born and raised in Toronto. I lived almost half my life there. I lived actually a little bit more in Oakville than I have in Toronto now. But to see how Toronto has changed in the past few years, it's
tragic, is what it is.
It's a cause for concern.
Yeah, it's a disaster. Demographics, they're dictating now that you're going to have third world Bronze Age conflicts on your street corners for the foreseeable future. Have fun. Hope you enjoy the fucking electric ferries, morons. You really
just
lost sight of the ball.
Hot off the press, Trump is going to put a tariff on Zelensky. So that's going to fund everything moving forward. So that's not going to happen. I wish they did that. If they did that, the debt wiped off.
The Z-Man will be right back in the Oval Office with a fucking tuxedo. So quick. So quick. All right, that's it. Good show. Come back Wednesday. I'll be talking to Phil Koinicaris about all things. I don't know, what do you call it? Low IQ tube content, among other things. We have lots to discuss, but yeah. Listen, I'm on a warpath against midwits here. I'm not making any. I'm not pretending otherwise anymore.
If he doesn't give us tips to 10x our YouTube plays, right?
Get my SEO way up.
Yeah, I want to be first on the list. So Mr. Beast,
every week the title has to be "This $7 trillion giant is doing something with fucking Bitcoin." Anyway,
which one? Fuck, I gotta click that. I'm curious.
Good night. God bless. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Take care. Don't be a cock.